Okay. So when you need this JDBC connection, because in the testing, where you will use this? So generally, if you want to connect to the database, so you have a data in the database. So you know you want to get the data from the database for your validations purpose, or you want to see whether data is inserted in the database tables or not. If you want to do all this kind of validations, you need to interact with the database, right? Then how can you interact? Selenium doesn't provide direct methods are not there. You have to write a Java code to interact with the database. So for that purpose, so we are going to use a JDBC API, which is a powerful API to connect to the databases. So what is this JDBC is? It's a Java API which will connect to the database and execute the queries that you are providing. And it will provide the result to you. So after executing the query, you will get the result. With that result, what you want to do, it's up to you. So that's the JDBC API means. And the JDBC API basically uses JDBC drivers to connect with the database. So why we need to use a JDBC? Because previously people were using ODBC API, which is written in Java, C, okay, which is a dependent programming language and platform dependent, right? Based on the database, it will vary, all the things. Now, if the different databases we have, like Oracle, MySQL Server, right? And also now we are getting a NoSQL databases also. SQL databases are there, NoSQL databases are there. So such cases, how to handle? So only one connection you need, but any database comes. Such cases, and Java is a platform independent. So you don't need to change the code, right? So Java is a platform independent, so that, and you can use the JDBC API to connect to the databases and execute your SQL queries with any database. Same code you can use. To do that, we are using a JDBC API. So in the JDBC API, so you know what is API means? API is an application program interface. Between the two interfaces, data will be exchanged. So that's an API, right? API is basically, so you're writing some function or code that will interact with the two different systems, and data will be exchanged. So that's an API means. And there are different drivers we are going to use here, like a JDBC, ODBC bridge driver, native API driver, network protocol driver, thin driver. So you can use basically based on the database type, you can use a driver type. There are 4 steps are there to connect to the database. First one is you need to load the driver. That's the first step. So to load the driver, you have to use a class dot for name static method. And this parameter is based on the database, a driver type is going to be different. So driver type is going to be a different. So Oracle dot JDBC dot driver dot Oracle driver. So these are the different drivers you can use. Now this is for Oracle database driver. Okay. For MySQL or SQL Server, you have a different driver type, but code is common, class dot for name only. That is how to load the driver. So once you load the driver, and second step is you need to connect to the database. For connecting the database, you're going to use a connection interface con equal to driver manager class dot get connection method you have to use. So get connection method will return a connection object. Connection object it is returning. And this get connection method, you have to pass 3 parameters. One is URL, username, password. URL, username, password. So these are the 3 things you have to pass. And URL is basically, it will be, I'm just giving for the one example of Oracle database. So URL is JDBC : Oracle : thin : @ localhost : port number. So where this database is listening and which port. So that port number and also the database name. You have to give a database name. So instead of localhost, you can give that system IP address. So for example, the database is in your system. You are also in my same network. And I have to give your IP address. If I want to consume the database of your machine, I have to use your IP address, your machine IP address here. So which machine the IP, this database is running, that machine you have to give. So localhost means in the same machine, the database is installed. That's the meaning of that. That's a second step. Once you write this step, connection will be established. Connection is ready. Now connection established. Now create a statement on the connection. So connection object dot create statement method, which returns statement object. So statement is an interface that is reference variable. So connection object dot create statement method. Once a statement is created, then on that statement, you execute your SQL query. So you need to fetch the results. The fourth step is you are going to fetch the results. So that you are going to use a result set interface, res equal to st.execute query. So select star from emp. So this is the So this is basically statement object dot execute query. This is the common method. Execute query is a common method, and you will pass your SQL query. So what query you want to execute, you can pass it. So that's how you can connect to the database and fetch the data from the database. Once all your data will store here from EMP table, all the data will store here. Then how you want to manipulate? You write a small Java code. Okay, this is also Java code, but still you can write a iterating the data, looping you can use, or while loop you can use to get the filter the data how you want. So that's what we are going to do that. Okay, so now after that, so let's understand here line by line. Each step, for each step. So what are the classes and methods and interfaces we are using? So in the first step for loading the driver, you're using a class and method name is a for name method, which is going to be a parameterized method. So then there is no interface in the first step. See, in this line, we are not using any interface, only class and static method you are using. Second step, and driver manager class and get connection method you are using and connection interface you are using. And third step, there is no class at all in the third step. You can see here. So create statement method and the statement interface or prepared statement interface or callable statement interface. These are the 3 types of statements. Statement, prepared statement, callable statement. 3 types of statements are there. So when to use which statement, I'll explain you in the coming in few minutes. So fourth one, no class, again execute query method and result set interface. So what are the different interfaces we are using here? Connection interface, statement, prepared statement, callable statement interfaces, result set interface. These are the interfaces we are using in the JDBC connection. So what are the benefits of using prepared statement over this statement interface? So basically, to handle the SQL injection attacks, you can use a prepared statement interface. So what it will do is it automatically escapes the any special characters. So what the hackers will do is hackers will give a special characters and trying to attack the database. So that will be automatically escaped if you use a prepared statement. And also another advantage by using this prepared statement is, so if you want to execute any dynamic SQL queries with some parameter inputs, then prepared statement will give you that provision to you. Statement doesn't provide that. And callable statement you can use if you want to execute a bigger SQL programs. Such cases you will use a callable statement interface. Okay, so these are all the three interfaces. Statement interface is used to execute a simple SQL queries. Prepared statement is used when you want to execute a dynamic SQL queries with some input data. And if you want to execute a bigger SQL queries, you will use a callable statement interface. Based on your need, you can use these three types of statements. Okay, so all these classes and interfaces are available in java.sql package. So which package is the default package, right? This is the built-in package. Here you have all the, this is the interface, this is the class. Prepared statement is an interface. Result set is an interface. SQL exception is a class. Properties. So this one is a java.util properties class. I'll tell you that. Here is the complete program with a try, catch, finally block. So mandatorily you have to use a try, catch, finally block. See, if you use a string URL, one variable we declared URL, JDBC : Oracle : thin : @localhost : the port number and the database name, SID we call this. So this is the database name. And then you need to give username, password, right? That I'm creating object for a properties class. Properties props equal to new properties. Props dot set property. So you have to give key and value. So key is the username and value is the, so this is the username value, Scott. So props dot set property, password, tiger. So basically key value. So username value, password value. So this is the map kind of thing. So properties class always acts both the string type only. Key value or string type only. So that's a properties class. You want to store properties. You're setting the property. So you can use your setting, username value, Scott. Password value you're setting as a tiger. So this is the Oracle database default username and password, Scott and tiger. Now see try. So class dot for name. First step, right? Load the driver. So this is the driver type for the Oracle database. And then second one is you are connecting to the database. Driver manager dot get connection URL and props. So string SQL equal to select sysdate as current day from dual class. So you write your own SQL queries. Okay. Then third one is prepare statement. Pre-statement equal to connection dot this connection dot prepare statement, and you are passing the SQL query. Then so result set, result equal to pre-statement dot execute query. So while result dot next method, and so you are iterating because the data is available and you're iterating. And if so result dot get string current day, this is the column name in the table. So you're getting the current day value from this result. And then so that's the catch block is try block is ending here. Then catch block SQL exception. So e.print stack trace. Finally, see I'm closing the connections. Con dot close result.close. So this is, as I mentioned yesterday, finally block is used to close the database connections or any important code you want to execute. You will use the finally block. See, all try, catch, finally blocks all came. So database connections, mandatorily you have to write a try, catch, finally blocks. Because you might get a connection might fail or something wrong will happen, but the resources are creating. So if you are not cleaning up them, the closing means you're cleaning up the resources, and that will keep on piling up. So that's an extra burden on the resources, extra resources you are going to use continuously for creating a objects. That's why you have to clean up. Finally block code always executes this line of code. So that's why finally block code mandatory for database connections. Okay, so that's all about this JDBC connections. So we don't have any database to connect and show it to that. But this is the standard code. Okay, standard code, this one. All these 4 steps you remember: load the driver, connect to the database, create a statement, fetch the result set. These 4 steps you remember. Okay, so that's all a simple program, and that's they will ask only these things only. What are the different, how you will connect to the database? Tell these steps. That's it, and that will give you some impression. And they might ask a few more questions on the what is the advantage of prepared statement, and so callable statement, when you can use, what are the different types of statements they will ask. Other than that, nothing. Okay, so very rarely they will ask this question, how you will connect to the database. Otherwise, there is no question on this. Mostly you will get on the OOPS only. Polymorphism and abstraction definitely will get. Method overloading and method overriding difference, abstract class and interface differences, mandatorily you will get those questions. So focus on them when you're going for interviews. Okay, that's it. And we have total 3 topics left. One is file handling, string handling, collections. So these 3 topics